Hello art students. We're going to start today with lesson 2 in basic drawing. If you remember last time we learned about value, different levels of value, and then a gradated value scale like this that we did. I hope you practiced doing this. You can actually right now just take the page that we worked on the other day and practice starting nice and dark, and then your pressure gets lighter and lighter as you get further away. You could do 3 or 4 of these, and it'll help you get a little better command of blending, because these next things that we're going to draw will take a lot of blending. Okay, I noticed in the video last time that I didn't draw quite darkly enough. I went over these lines. I think you can see them a little bit better. So let's get a new page, and we are going to draw a pyramid. I'm going to turn this back here. Now you know how I like to do reference points. So let's have a few reference points out here. Let's have maybe one here and one just a little bit below. See how I'm just going below ever so slightly, and then up here, and then we'll have one up here at the top. So you can already see how we're kind of making a pyramid. You don't have to have a ruler, but if you have some kind of a straight edge for this, it might be a little bit easier. You're going to sketch your lines, kind of connect the dots thing here. And we'll have, this one here needs to be straight up and down. You can see I'm a little off. So let's fix that. There we go. Coming straight down like that. And probably, I'm going to use my pencil because I said you didn't have to have a ruler, and see if that distance from here to here and here to here is about the same, and it looks like it's about the same. So I'll take my straight edge here, draw that. Then we're going to connect these dots here, and then connect these two here. Okay, we're going to have levels 2, 3, and 4 of our value scale. I'm going to flip back to that page here real quick. Okay, here's the scale that we made. So we're not going to use 1 for this. We're going to use 2, 3, and 4. So for level 2, let's pretend like the light's kind of coming from this direction, not really this way, but from this direction, and hitting this part of the pyramid right here. So remember how I told you to hold your pencil kind of sideways and go ahead and shade that side of your pyramid. Make sure you don't get too dark. If you do, that's what we have an eraser for. You can just go back and lift some of it out. And it doesn't have to be perfectly even for our purposes here, because the main part of this lesson is for you guys to be able to get kind of a command of your pencil, and to be able to control your lightness and darkness, or your value of your color. This pencil isn't working as well as my band pencil I used the other day. I may have to find that one. I like those band pencils. They have good erasers on them too. Of course, I never make mistakes. Okay, we've got about a level 2, and I've kind of smeared it out here some, so I'm going to lift some of that out. Okay, then on this side, this is going to, so the light's kind of coming from this way, then this is going to be the darkest side. So let's go ahead and shade this in right here. And it's going to be quite a bit darker. If you remember, level 4 was not dark, but it was pretty intense there. And you remember the term glazing that we learned, that you're going, where you go over it and over, because you don't want to be breaking your pencil lead. Now I'm showing you these techniques, and you can use these processes on all kinds of different things. If you want to draw a picture of your dog, or if you want to draw a picture of a tree, you can just, most anything that you want to draw that has form, then you're going to want to be able to do this shading. Okay, can you see the different levels of value? I've got kind of a 2 here, and kind of a 2 here, and a 4 here. Then we have, remember the term cast shadow. We're going to have a slightly, we're just going to kind of draw the shape of what the shadow would look like, kind of in a pyramid shape, just so we get the right idea there. And this isn't going to be quite as dark. It's going to be darker than this, but not as dark as that. I may wind up having to go back and shade that one a little bit darker. So just as a review, this is kind of what we were doing last time. I think I will need to make that just a little bit darker along there just to have some contrast. Remember how important contrast is in art. It's also important in music. If you notice when you're listening to a piece of music, if it's all the same, it's really boring. But if it changes up and has some contrast, it becomes much more interesting. Okay, there is our pyramid. Remember we have levels 2 and 3 down here and level 4 here. Okay, the next thing we're going to draw is we're going to draw like the side of a coin. So let's put us a couple of reference dots here and here. It's going to be kind of a close-up of a coin. So make yourself a little arc going from one of these points to the other. And that's a little bit hard to do. The way our hands work, sometimes you might want to go straight here and come down. You have to go back and sketch over it several times till you get it nice and even. Then you're going to do the same thing on the bottom, and you want the bottom to go down as far down as this line goes up. So usually I kind of make some reference dots of my own there. I've got it going down a little bit too far, so I'll refine that here and erase the lines I don't want. Now you're looking at this from the side. Let's see, I'm going to take the lid off of this paint here so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here. If you're looking at something from straight on, it looks like a circle. But if you're looking at it at an angle, can you see how you're starting to get more of an oval here? And if you sharpen that angle even more, you're getting these almost sharp edges there. Put my lid on my paint, back on my paint so it doesn't start squeezing out on me. Okay, and get the sides of our fat little coin. Just a couple of lines straight down like that. And we've got to do the bottom edge of it now. So however long you got this, make your reference dot kind of in the middle and maybe kind of here. I'm not really measuring this, but now you're going to make another arced line like that. Okay, and we've got the light coming almost straight at it in this example. So let's divide this into different areas. So we've got 4, our levels of value, let's put our numbers here. This will be the darkest, 4, 3, 2, and I got that off. That's okay. We'll erase this line here and we'll have a big space here that's value 1, which is pretty much white. So let's go ahead and shade those in. Remember, this is the darkest. Just to make it easier, go ahead and do both of your number 4s. And kind of make sure they're the same as far as your shading is concerned. And then a little bit lighter here. And then a little bit lighter here. Oh, that's hard to get that even lighter there. I'm going to have to go back and make my 3 just a little bit darker. And my 2 is lighter, and then your 1 is going to be the lightest of all. Then the next thing you want to do is you're going to want to blend these together. So take your pencil and just kind of see how I'm blending those together. Just pretty much eradicating the line that is between the different levels of value. That takes a little bit of practice. Remember when we were doing this where we'd start really dark and then get lighter? That's what this is all about. And then you can fade your number 2 into your number 1. And it starts looking almost like you've got a nice shadow going on here. We're not going to do, nice shading going here. We're not going to do a cast shadow on that, but this kind of shows you, this is called transition blending, and you'll hear that if you're taking my fine art painting class, you will hear that term again. But as we're transitioning from the dark to the light, we're doing some blending so we don't have facets in it or lines on it. Okay, we are going to do now another cone. It's not a pyramid, it's going to be a cone, and I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler again just so that I have a straight edge. Okay, find a little bit above middle on your paper, and then come down here a ways, and just very lightly sketch it so you know you're getting it straight. That's just a really light line. And then about the same distance out here and here, because we are making a cone. It's almost looking like a pyramid again, isn't it? Except a little bit different here. Let's see how that looks. I'm off of my reference dots, but as long as they're equidistant from the center or almost, it'll be just fine. Now, instead of drawing straight lines here, we're going to make an arc like we did here. So this will wind up looking more like a cone than like a pyramid. Oh, here we go with a piece of pizza. That's what it almost looks like to me, making me hungry again. Okay, now we're going to divide this area just like we did here. We're going to do the same blending. We'll lay down our levels of value first, and then we're going to do some transition blending to blend them together. So, let's see, let's make here and here. Now this is going to be value 4 on both sides. Then we're going to have value 3. Then we're going to have value 2, and then right in the middle will be value 1. So go ahead and take your straight edge and very lightly sketch your lines for your different value areas. I hope this is dark enough that you can see. When we did our ribbon last time, when I was looking at the video, I realized that I was almost too light for you guys to see it. It's a fine line there, getting it too dark. Okay, one more line to draw here, and for our learning purposes, let's go ahead and label the numbers here. So we're going to have 4 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 2, and then both of these will be 1. So it's going to blend into almost white. Okay, let's lay in our colors here. When you get up here to the top and you've got a real skinny, go ahead and use kind of the tip of your pencil, but just make sure you don't push too hard. And as you get further down, you can either, as you go along like this, your pencil kind of gets a flat spot on it where you're using it to color. Just remember not to push too hard. You want to go back and glaze over it to make it dark, not push too hard to begin with, because it could, you know, put a dent in your paper or tear your paper, or just be so dark you can't manipulate it in any way. Let's do our level 4 over here. I may have to go back and darken these a little bit more. We'll just see. The important point is to have it blended and have some contrast between the colors, between the different levels. I'm showing you all of this, and what this is going to grow into is the next lesson we are going to draw an apple. And apple, as you know, would be, remember the lesson where we took a circle and turned it into a ball? It's going to be some of that. And we're going to have some transition blending that we're going to be doing on that. And then a cast shadow and a nice table for it to sit on. Okay, that may not be dark enough for level 4, but we'll just see. Okay, lighten it up a little bit for level 3. Pinching this very gently. A little bit lighter. And over here, level 3. It's easy to get it too dark. Level 2, which is going to be even lighter. I'm going to have to lay my pencil down because I'm getting too sharp of an edge. I can hardly tell the difference between level 3 and level 2. I'll fix that in a few minutes. Make level 3 a little bit darker. And level 4 a little bit darker, and now that's looking better. A little bit more convincing. I'm already doing some blending, even though we divided this up, going from light to dark. And then remember, as we go into level 1, you're going to fade it into it. You're going to blend it into it. You're going to feather it in. And now I'm going to erase this line right here in the middle. That helped us get our drawing accurate, but we don't need it right now. Okay, here's our cone. I make it even darker on my level 4s and maybe clean up the edges a little bit so we have a little crisper edge on our edge of our coin, or our cone. And then blending toward the center. Now if your lines that you did to divide your areas, if there's a little darker than you want them, then just go ahead and lift out some of that with your eraser if you wish. I think I'll do some of that up here. It'll take a little bit of refining to get it just right. And I think I'll probably take my eraser and clean up the edges quite a bit. Okay, clean up here. I think I'll erase my numbers because I'm finished with them now. And just so it doesn't look like a piece of pizza floating in the sky, let's go ahead and set this on a table and do a little cast shadow. Of course, with the light coming from the front, where's the cast shadow going to go? It's going to go right behind. So that might be a little bit misleading there. If we try and do it to the side, a little horizontal line there, like that's the edge of a table. I don't know. If I were a shadow, I might be able to see part of it back here. But I wouldn't guess there'd be too much of it, you'd see. Okay, next we are going to do a layered pyramid. This is a little bit more difficult drawing, but I think you can do it. Erase this here so we've got some room. Okay, remember how we made the bottom of our pyramid? We're going to make 3 of those and as they level up. So let's start way down here and then put some reference dots here and here, and then we're going to go all the way to the top here, and that this dot up here may have to change. We'll just see. Let's go ahead and connect this here and here, and then just lightly sketch the sides here. I think I missed on that side. I need to go back and redo it. No, it works. And lightly down the middle. Okay, there's our pyramid, and we're going to divide that into layers. So if you have a ruler handy, I think for this part of the lesson, that might be pretty neat to have. So let's take it about an inch up and put a dot, and then about an inch up. It doesn't have to be exactly an inch. If you don't have a ruler and you want to use your pencil, you could just find a predetermined spot just so that all 3 of these dots are all the same amount up from the bottom for the base. Let's go ahead and connect this. That's not the same, or my line would be parallel. I'm going to look at that again. Now, there we go. Draw here. Draw here. Remember, if you need to, you can always pause these videos. These things are designed so that you can pause and do what you need to do. Now here's the fun part. The next level of our pyramid is going to be floating above. So to show the space between the different levels that float, we're going to have to finish as if this was transparent. We're going to have to finish the way this pyramid would look. Now, this is going to go away, but this is just to give us an idea. So if this was a glass pyramid, you would be able to see through it and see this other side. For the bottom part, it's the same thing. Comes up to the center and then down like that. Now it looks like we're looking at a glass pyramid. I can put a little figurine right there sitting on the glass. Okay. Now we're going to do the second level. So let's make a little parallel line right along here. It doesn't matter how far it is, just so the distance here to here is the same on both sides, or very close to the same. And then we're going to go up here and do the same thing here. And it's a little bit hard. I think I'm going to need to measure that. About an inch. Oh, that was a pretty good guess. About an inch here. And about an inch over here. Well, we had quite a rainstorm around here today. All my cannas that I planted outside are kind of floating. I think they probably got enough water. Okay, the same thing we did down here, we're going to do up here, just to make the space between the layers of the pyramid all about the same. And then we'll go through and we'll erase some of this stuff and it'll look like it's all floating. It's a pretty cool deal. Okay, and remember how we did that as if it was transparent? Let's do the same thing here. Make sure that these lines are all parallel to one another and the same angle here. There we go. Now we have a transparent pyramid. So the way we're going to be able to accomplish this to look like a regular pyramid is we're going to erase now our pretend transparent lines. So erase these guys right here. That's another reason we like to sketch nice and lightly, so that you can erase things when you need to. Now we've got a sectional pyramid, and this part of the line now needs to be reinforced, going right to the bottom of that. Same with this one. And this one, kind of make them a little bit dark. Now we've got some levels underneath there, some space. I'm going to erase this little bit of this line here. So this goes out here, up. There we go. Now to really make this convincing and look like these levels are floating, we're going to do our value changes now. So we're going to have a value 4 here, a value 3 here, value 4, value 3, 2, and 3, and then this shadow under here, we're going to make a new value, and it's going to be value 5. So we're going to draw about this same space here. This is going to be a shadow underneath. Need to refine that line a little bit, it looks like. There we go. One thing I love about pencil is very forgiving. You go back and change things pretty easily. And this line needs to go straight this way and straight this way. So let's start with value 5. This is our shadow underneath of the pyramid. And this is going to be real dark, almost black. But remember not to push too hard with your pencil. Go back over it and over it and over it so you don't break your pencil and so you don't get too harsh of a line. Same thing on this side over here. Color that in nice and dark. All this different shading that we're doing, like I said a little bit ago, can really go a long ways to help you create any form you want. If you just want to draw a picture of a little bit of landscape, or if you want to draw a picture of a person. Okay, I'm bringing this out and straight so that it's a little more convincing that this is hovering above. Okay, now let's look at our different levels of value. We want this one to be 4, so this is going to be pretty dark here. Not quite as dark as the 5, I almost overdid it there. Level 4, nice tight little circles, except on the edges there. I'm going to have to lift a little bit of that out because I overdid it. I had a value 5 going. There we go, that's better. This side here. And the other place we've got a level 4 is up here. Now you might wonder why we have a little bit lighter value in the middle. There's 2 reasons for that. One is to create a little bit of separation between the different sections of our floating pyramid, and also one might be a slightly lighter color, like maybe this middle section is an orange and the other sections are a purple, or a much darker color. I like doing this shading. real fun to get real meticulous with it, get down in these corners. Okay, so there's two areas. I'm going to clean up my edges here just a little bit, but taking care not to make my edges harsh. Clean up a little bit here. So we have, like I said earlier, a little bit of separation. Okay, and now we are ready for value 3 over here, which is going to be lighter. Let's do our 3 here between our two 4s, so we can make sure that we've got it just a little bit lighter. Value 3 here. So this is a much more complex design than our pyramid or our cone or the side of our coin up here. And the more complex we get, the longer it takes to accomplish it. But like I said, it's a lot of fun. I like doing this shading. I have to be too careful over here because I can just kind of bleed over into my other levels there, into my number 4. It's already starting to look like it's a floating second pyramid, isn't it? So if you wanted to draw a picture of something that had different sections in it, now you know how to do it. Okay, the value 2 now is going to be a little bit lighter. Like if you wanted to draw a picture of a bunch of buildings on a street and just play with the way the light hits different sections of them, the top of a porch or something. With this knowledge that you're getting from these drawing lessons, you'd be able to figure out and know exactly how to do that. Now we're back to a level 3 up here. Darken and clean up my 4 over here just a touch. I want a little bit more prominent line down the middle since it is a hard edge. Okay, very good. Now we've got our basic levels of value. Now what's going to happen in here? We're going to have a shadow here, but it's not going to be as intense as this shadow here. So let's just barely shade that in. Kind of a 1.5 almost. Just a little bit of a shade here just to show that there's a little bit of a shadow being cast by each one of these sections that are floating. Okay. And the last thing you can do is just kind of go through and clean up your edges, and you have your floating pyramid. I think I'm gonna, since my cast shadow was underneath, we're not, you know, that we don't have to draw one out to the side. I'm gonna erase my numbers here because we use those for a tool. Let's see, my erase came off. You might want to draw a picture of a teepee. I did a series of paintings of Native Americans out in the woods. And boy, it was a challenge getting the light and shadow exactly right on the teepees. And drawing this pyramid here makes me think of that. There's a lot more sides to a teepee than there is this pyramid, but it's the same basic concept. Once you understand the basics, then you can do anything you want. Okay, that's the end of lesson number 2. Next time we're going to draw a big, beautiful apple. So remember to praise God, stay inspired, and keep making art.